This video is for the Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses. Please watch the video until the end because it gives clear, overwhelming evidence of who I am. I am Jehovah's servant, and this video will 110% prove it. Now, I was actually looking on my Google Photos for a picture of the houses outside my house. So I was looking for that, and then I found this photo on my Google Photos as I was scrolling down, and I remember it because it stood out like a sore thumb. This is obviously supernatural light in the direction of the north outside my bedroom window. And if you have a look at the definition of dawn, it says there, the first appearance of light in the sky before sunrise, which this photo clearly shows. But there's one problem. If you look at the time, the photo was taken on the 28th of July 2020. It says 3:15 a.m. Right? Now we're going to check the time of dawn on the 28th of July 2020. It says dawn was at 4:29 a.m. So that means on calculator.net, the difference between 4:29 and 3:15 is 1 hour, 14 minutes. So that supernatural light in the sky is obviously supernatural because dawn wasn't for 1 hour, 14 minutes later. So that's clearly, this is a supernatural sign from Jehovah. But the question is, why did Jehovah give me this sign? Well, if you look in the top right hand corner of the photo, you will see my battery. When I took the snapshot this morning, it's on 42%. Now, my favorite Bible book is Isaiah. So I always go to Isaiah first before any other Bible book. So the battery's on 42%. Let's have a look at Isaiah chapter 42. And lo and behold, the servant of the Lord. Verse 1 to 4 says, "Here is my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will bring justice to the nations. He will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smouldering wick he will not snuff out. In faithfulness he will bring forth justice. He will not falter or be discouraged till he establishes justice on the earth. In his teaching the island will put their hope." So in verse 2 it says he will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. I've actually never done that. I've never been in the streets preaching about my beliefs or who I am. So that is being fulfilled. Now, if we go back to the photo of the supernatural light in the sky, well, first of all, I'm just going to read you. Where is it? Here we go. It's if you want to have a look at this Watchtower in the New World Translation, it's Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 and 6. It says, "Look, I am sending to you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and fear-inspiring day of the Lord," or Jehovah. "And he will turn the hearts of fathers back towards sons and the hearts of sons back towards fathers, so that I may not come and strike the earth, devoting it to destruction. Now in verse 5 it says, look, I'm sending to you the prophet Elijah. The Watchtower, in their publications on jw.org, actually say that Elijah, and I had a letter from the Watchtower in May 2012, that the Elijah is the anointed, the John class. The Watchtower view the anointed as the Elijah, the prophet Elijah, that's being sent to in the end times. And they say that the anointed will restore true worship. But this isn't true. Elijah is not a collective prophet. That Elijah is me, and this is how I can prove it from this supernatural picture. As you can see, the time of the photo was 3:15, right? I'll let you look at that, 3:15. Now, what is the 315th chapter of the Bible? Let's have a look. This is my English Gematria app, and it'll tell me the chapter of 3:15. 2 Kings chapter 2 is the 315th chapter of the Bible. Let's have a look at 2 Kings chapter 2. We'll have a look on the New World Translation on jw.org. 2 Kings chapter 2, and it says in verse 1, when Jehovah was about to take Elijah up to the heavens in a windstorm, Elijah and Elisha went out from Gilgal. Verse 11, as they were walking along, speaking as they walked, suddenly a fiery chariot and fiery horses made a separation between the two of them, and Elijah ascended to the heavens in a windstorm. Now, this proves that Elijah never died. I have been in heaven with Jehovah all this time. And I was born on the 29th of April, 1967. Elijah came back to earth as me in the flesh. And Jehovah sends Elijah, as it says in Malachi 4 verse 5, I will send my prophet Elijah before the great inspiring day of Jehovah. Now, notice this is in 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 11. Now I'm going to show you a Bible code, Watchtower. This is incredible. This proves that I'm Elijah. As you can see, New World Translation, 2 Kings 2, 11 and 12. As they were walking along, speaking as they walked, suddenly a fiery chariot and fiery horses made a separation between the two of them, and Elijah ascended to heavens in a windstorm. While Elisha was watching, he was crying out, my father, the chariot of Israel and his horses. When he could no longer see him, he took hold of his own garments and ripped them into pieces. As you can see there in red, from left to right, it's got, well, it's a skip rate of every 11 letters. So you've got H-A-C-H-E and Hashe, my surname Hashe, H-A-C-C-H-E. This code here is without the extra C. So according to Wikipedia, that's a variant of my surname Hashe. So that's definitely me in there. It's actually encoded where it says between the two of them, and Elijah ascended to the heavens in a windstorm. Now under that in blue, you've got every 6 letters hatch backwards, starting with a letter in H. His H-A-T-C-H, hatch. Now hatch is the modern day version of Hashe. Hashe is Middle English. Hatch is Modern English. And hatch actually means small gate. And if you remember in Matthew 7 verse 13, Jesus said, go in through the narrow gate. My name also means door. And Jesus said in John chapter 10, I am the door of the sheep. So obviously Jesus was talking about me being the narrow gate and the door of the sheep. So that's a fantastic code, and that Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses is in the New World Translation. So you should respect this code and what it says. Now we're going to go back to, where is it? The picture again. This was on the 28th of July, 2020. Now, if we put those numbers into my Gematria Bible app. Now, what this does, this number, the 28th of the 7th, 07/2020, is obviously a big number. And there are actually 1,189 chapters in the Bible. So what this calculator does, it goes to 1,189 to Revelation 22, the last book of the Bible. Then it starts at Genesis again. Do you get what I mean? So obviously that number has gone quite a number, well, many times through the Bible to get to Zechariah chapter 8. So this is the date, the 28th, 07/2020. So that's given the scripture Bible book of Zechariah chapter 8. Let's have a look at Zechariah chapter 8 in the New World Translation and see what it says. I'm going to play this because it's important. I can never find Bible books. Zechariah, where's that? Zechariah chapter 8. Take notice, Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses. Here we go. Zechariah chapter 8.
Chapter 8. The word of Jehovah of armies again came, saying, This is what Jehovah of armies says. I will be zealous for Zion with a great zeal, and with great wrath I will be zealous for her. This is what Jehovah says. I will return to Zion and reside in Jerusalem, and Jerusalem will be called the city of truth, and the mountain of Jehovah of armies, the holy mountain. This is what Jehovah of armies says. Old men and women will again sit in the public squares of Jerusalem, each with his staff in his hand because of his great age. And the public squares of the city will be filled with boys and girls playing there. This is what Jehovah of armies says. Although it may seem too difficult to the remaining ones of this people in those days, should it seem too difficult also to me? Declares Jehovah of armies. This is what Jehovah of armies says. Here I am saving my people from the lands of the east and the west, and I will bring them in, and they will reside in Jerusalem, and they will become my people, and I will become their God in truth and in righteousness. This is what Jehovah of armies says. Let your hands be strong. You who now hear these words from the mouth of the prophets, the same words that were spoken on the day the foundation of the house of Jehovah of armies was laid for the temple to be built. For before that time, there were no wages being paid either for man or for beast, and it was not safe to come and go because of the adversary, for I turned all men one against another. But now I will not deal with the remaining ones of this people as in the former days, declares Jehovah of armies. For the seed of peace will be sown, the vine will produce its fruit, and the earth its yield, and the heavens will give their due. And I will cause the remaining ones of this people to inherit all these things. And just as you became an object of cursing among the nations, O house of Judah and house of Israel, so I will save you, and you will become a blessing. Do not be afraid. let your hands be strong. For this is what Jehovah of armies says. Just as I had determined to bring calamity on you, because your forefathers made me indignant, says Jehovah of armies, and I felt no regret. So at this time, I have determined to do good to Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. Do not be afraid. These are the things you should do. Speak the truth with one another, and the judgments in your gates must promote truth and peace. Do not scheme calamity against one another in your hearts, and do not love any false oath, for these are all things that I hate, declares Jehovah. The word of Jehovah of armies again came to me, saying, This is what Jehovah of armies says. The fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the fast of the 7th month, and the fast of the 10th month will be occasions for exultation and joy for the house of Judah, festivals of rejoicing. So love, truth, and peace. This is what Jehovah of armies says. It will yet come to pass that peoples and the inhabitants of many cities will come, and the inhabitants of one city will go to those of another and say, Let us earnestly go to beg for the favor of Jehovah and to seek Jehovah of armies. I am also going. And many peoples and mighty nations will come to seek Jehovah of armies in Jerusalem and to beg for the favor of Jehovah. This is what Jehovah of armies says. In those days, 10 men out of all the languages of the nations will take hold. Yes, they will take firm hold of the robe of a Jew, saying, We want to go with you, for we have heard that God is with you people.
So this is a prophecy about Jehovah's Witnesses, how he will bring them back. Where's it? This is what Jehovah says, I will return to Zion and reside in Jerusalem, and Jerusalem will be called a city of truth, and the mountain of Jehovah of armies, the holy nation. So this is talking about when I take over the Watchtower on the 3rd of, destroy and take over the Watchtower and the governing body on 3rd of August 2025. The official date for the Watchtower takeover, when all Jehovah's Witnesses and the world will know, is the 25th of August 2025. So nobody's going to know when I take down the Watchtower on the 3rd of August. So if we look at, let me just check this now. It's what have I done here? I think I've gone backwards with the date now. So I've got the top left hand corner, I've got 20270820. Anyway, I've gone back with a date when the supernatural light was in the sky, and that's Jeremiah chapter 3. So we'll listen to that. This is a message to Jehovah's Witnesses again. Jeremiah chapter 3.
Chapter 3. People ask, if a man sends his wife away and she leaves him and becomes another man's, should he return to her any more? Has that land not been utterly polluted? You have committed prostitution with many companions, and should you now return to me, declares Jehovah?
Yeah, this woman, this man sends his wife away and she leaves him and becomes another man. Should he return to her? It says, you have committed prostitution with your companions. This is actually talking about my wife, Samantha Jane Hashay, or Samantha Jane Reed as it is now. So she's the daughter of Zion Watchtower, which I can prove. Let's carry on.
Raise your eyes to the bare hills and see. Where have you not been raped? You sat along the roadways for them, like a nomad in the wilderness. You keep polluting the land with your prostitution and your wickedness. So showers of rain are withheld, and there is no rain in the spring. You have the brazen look of a wife who commits prostitution. You refuse to feel shame. But now you call out to me, "My father, you are the companion of my youth." Should one stay resentful forever, or always hold a grudge? This is what you say, but you keep doing all the evil you are capable of doing. In the days of King Josiah, Jehovah said to me, "Have you seen what unfaithful Israel has done? She has gone up on every high mountain and underneath every luxuriant tree to commit prostitution. Even after she did all these things, I kept telling her to return to me, but she did not return. And Judah kept watching her treacherous sister. When I saw that, I sent unfaithful Israel away with a full certificate of divorce because of her adultery. But her treacherous sister Judah did not become afraid. She too went out and committed prostitution. She took her prostitution lightly, and she kept polluting the land and committing adultery with stones and with trees. Despite all this, her treacherous sister Judah did not return to me with all her heart, only in pretense, declares Jehovah. Jehovah then said to me, "Unfaithful Israel has shown herself to be more righteous than treacherous Judah. Go and proclaim these words to the north. Return, O renegade Israel, declares Jehovah. I will not look down angrily on you, for I am loyal, declares Jehovah. I will not stay resentful forever. Only acknowledge your guilt, for you have rebelled against Jehovah your God. You continued scattering your favors to strangers under every luxuriant tree, but you would not obey my voice, declares Jehovah. Return, you renegade sons, declares Jehovah, for I have become your true master, and I will take you, one from a city and two from a family, and I will bring you to Zion. And I will give you shepherds after my own heart, and they will feed you with knowledge and insight. You will become many and will bear fruit in the land in those days, declares Jehovah. No more will they say, 'The ark of the covenant of Jehovah.' It will not come up into the heart, nor will they remember it or miss it, and it will not be made again. At that time they will call Jerusalem the throne of Jehovah, and all the nations will be brought together to the name of Jehovah at Jerusalem, and they will no longer stubbornly follow their own wicked heart. In those days they will walk together, the house of Judah alongside the house of Israel, and together they will come from the land of the north into the land that I gave to your forefathers as an inheritance. And I thought, how I placed you among the sons and gave you the desirable land, the most beautiful inheritance among the nations. I also thought that you would call me my father, and that you would not turn away from following me. Truly, as a wife treacherously leaves her husband, so also you, O house of Israel, have dealt treacherously with me, declares Jehovah. On the bare hills a sound is heard, the weeping and the pleading of the people of Israel, for they have distorted their way. They have forgotten Jehovah their God. Return, you renegade sons. I will heal your renegade condition. Here we are. We have come to you. For you, O Jehovah, are our God. Truly, the hills and the turmoil on the mountains are a delusion. Truly, in Jehovah our God is the salvation of Israel. But the shameful thing has consumed the toil of our forefathers since our youth, their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters. Let us lie down in our shame, and let our disgrace cover us. For we have sinned against Jehovah our God, we and our fathers since our youth until this day. and we have not obeyed the voice of Jehovah our God.
Yeah, Jeremiah chapter 3 is talking about it's about my wife being a prostitute and acting treacherously against me by leaving me for no reason, but it's also talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and Watchtower and the governing body. Now, let me just check this. This is interesting. If you put the date when the supernatural light was in the sky, the 28th 07/2020, and put those numbers in order. So in the top left hand corner, we've got 222780000. That gives the Bible chapter Micah chapter 3. Micah chapter 3. That's talking about the leaders and the prophets rebuked. So let's now listen to Micah chapter 3 in the New World Translation. Micah chapter 3. Here we go. This is a message to Watchtower.
Chapter 3. I said, "Hear, please, you heads of Jacob, and you commanders of the house of Israel. Should you not know what is just? But you hate what is good, and love what is bad. You tear off the skin from my people, and the flesh from their bones. You also eat the flesh of my people, and strip off their skin, smashing their bones, crushing them to pieces, like what is cooked in a pot, like meat in a cooking pot. At that time, they will call to Jehovah for help, but he will not answer them. He will hide his face from them at that time because of their wicked deeds. This is what Jehovah says against the prophets who are leading my people astray, who proclaim peace while they bite with their teeth, but who declare war against him who puts nothing into their mouths. You will have night. There will be no vision. There will only be darkness for you, no divination. The sun will set on the prophets, and the day will turn dark for them. The visionaries will be put to shame, and the diviners will be disappointed. All of them will have to cover over the mustache, for there is no answer from God. As for me, I am filled with power by the Spirit of Jehovah, and with justice and might to tell to Jacob his revolt, and to Israel his sin. Hear this, please, you heads of the house of Jacob, and you commanders of the house of Israel, who detest justice, and who make crooked all that is straight, who build Zion with bloodshed, and Jerusalem with unrighteousness. Her leaders judge for a bribe, her priests instruct for a price, and her prophets practice divination for money. And yet they lean on Jehovah, saying, "Is not Jehovah with us? No calamity will come upon us." So, because of you, Zion will be plowed up as a field. Jerusalem will become heaps of ruins, and the mountain of the house will become like high places in a forest.
Yeah, what an accurate description of Watchtower and the governing body. As it says in verse 11, saying, is not Jehovah with us? No calamity will come upon you. Oh, yes, it will, Watchtower and the governing body, on the 3rd of August, 2025. I swear on my children's life, 110%, I will take you down. Right? Now, we're just going to go back to the time difference on this again. Well, dawn. This supernatural light in the sky was at 3:15, and as I have already said, dawn. Oh, wrong one. Dawn was at 4:29. So the calculation in that. Well, put my face on there. I don't want that. Where is it? Here we go. That's 1 hour 14 minutes. Now I'm just going to put into my English Gematria chapter 114. The 114 chapter is Leviticus. I don't think that's anything. Let's try 411 backwards. The 411th chapter of the Bible is Ezra chapter 8. So the difference between 3:15 a.m. and 4:29 a.m. is 114, and the 411th chapter of the Bible is Ezra chapter 8, which is list of the family heads returning with Ezra, the return to Jerusalem. So Jehovah's Witnesses are going to return. They are spiritual Israel. Right? Now, if we take... Oh, wrong one. If we take this again, the difference between 4:29 a.m. and 3:15 a.m. is 4,440 seconds. So I've put 4,440 seconds into my Gematria. Oh, it says Hosea chapter 11. Can you see? 4440 seconds is Hosea chapter 11. Which is God's love for Israel, which is Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's have a listen to Hosea chapter 11. This will be the last bit. I hope you've listened all the way through this video, Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses. I get a lot of it. It says my average is not good for watching videos. I only get 43 seconds sometimes. Where are we? Hosea chapter 11. Listen to this, Jehovah's Witnesses and Watchtower. Here we go.
Chapter 11. When Israel was a boy, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. The more they called them, the more they went away from them. They kept sacrificing to the Baal images and offering sacrifices to the graven images. But it was I who taught Ephraim to walk, taking them in my arms, and they did not acknowledge that I had healed them. With the ropes of men I kept drawing them, with the cords of love, and I was to them like one lifting a yoke from their jaws, and I gently brought food to each one. They will not return to the land of Egypt, but Assyria will be their king, because they refused to return to me. And a sword will whirl against his cities, and destroy his bars, and devour them because of their schemes. My people are bent on unfaithfulness to me. Though they called them upward, no one rises up. How can I give you up, O Ephraim? How can I hand you over, O Israel? How can I treat you like Admah? How can I make you like Seboim? I have had a change of heart. At the same time, my compassions are stirred. I will not vent my burning anger. I will not destroy Ephraim again, for I am God and not man, the Holy One in your midst, and I will not come against you in fury. They will walk after Jehovah, and he will roar like a lion. When he roars, his sons will come trembling from the west. They will tremble like a bird when they come out of Egypt, like a dove out of the land of Assyria. And I will settle them in their houses, declares Jehovah. Ephraim has surrounded me with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit.
But Judah still roams with God, and he is faithful to the Most Holy One.
So there you have it, Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses. Who would have believed that a sign from Jehovah like that, with the with supernatural light, dawn at 3:15 a.m., could give so much information through maths and numerology? Watchtower, you are wrong about numerology, right? Because Jehovah created the universe through maths and numerology, Fibonacci and pi. This is what the Watchtower say about I just heard a bang downstairs. That was weird. I don't know what that was, whether it was the door. Spooked me out a bit, that. Right, this is what Watchtower says about numerology. What do numbers mean in the Bible? Then it gives a list. 1 means unity, 2 an illegal setting, and so on. Then it says at the bottom, numerology gematria, which I've just shown you, gematria. It's basically the assigning of numbers to letters. These symbolic meanings of numbers in the Bible are different from numerology, which involves looking for an occult meaning in numbers, their combinations and numerical totals. For example, Jewish Kabbalists have analysed the Hebrew scriptures using a technique called gematria, which looks for hidden code in the numerical equivalent of letters. Numerology is a form of divination which God condemns. What a load of twaddle. So you're saying that maths and numerology, which are the same thing anyway, they're all connected. What's the difference between maths and numerology, Watchtower? That they're a cult meaning, when Jehovah's the greatest mathematician in the universe. In fact, it mentions there Jewish Kabbalists. The mystics, the Jewish Kabbalists, are the most intelligent people you will ever meet, and they're inspired by Jehovah, Watchtower. Would you believe it? Because you know what Watchtower have said about their publications in the Watchtower, that they are not inspired writings. So here's a good example, Watchtower, of how you can get it completely wrong. So there we have it. I think that's enough now. I'm just going to do another calculation, and if it works out, I'll pop it on with this, connect it with this video. Anyway, have a good day, Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses. Bye for now.